Hi there, we are Export Space. We are a company based here in Chihuahua, Chihuahua that is mainly focused in the process of the export and import of parts of our special. Why? Because we believe in the opportunity that Chihuahua has for this huge market. We believe in Mexico and the whole opportunities and the people and abilities that we have. Because we want to make an easy process to export and import these parts and these products to get the airplanes done here in Mexico. We believe in this force, and today we want to talk to you about us, about this company and the process and what it means to be working here in Mexico and like the whole process. I hope you like this video.
Hi, my name is Kenneth Rodriguez and I'm going to explain a few points about this final report. How can we use the Mexican legal system to our favor? Well, there's an aviation law has been in force since May 13 of 1995 and it regulates the air transportation services and simplifies the administrative procedures. You know, all the bureaucracy that we had, this law can help us to facilitate all the documents and all the procedures. The Ministry of Communication is the authority in charge of issuing concessions of Mexican companies to provide regular domestic air transportation. The concessions are granted for a period of 30 years and may be renewed. In my opinion, this concession has to be renewed for a little term, like a shorter term, because the industry has to change, you know, for the security and also for all the technologies advances. It has to renew every 10 years, in my opinion. And how's the relationship between Mexican demographic and the purchasing power? Well, as you know, Mexico and United States are neighbors, and all the industry, aerospace industry here in Chihuahua, the aerospace industry has many power in the state. So as a demographic, we have this advantage demographic to import or export the merchandising in a less of the time, and also it reduces the cost. Well, how it will play out within the Mexican economy system, especially with the economics surrounding that industry. Well, the aerospace industry has a lot of years in the state, and this industry has give a lot of employees, and also Chihuahua is one of the states that has it's more productive in the industry. And with, you know, Baja California, with Sonora, Guanajuato, Querétaro, and another countries in the Bajío, states in the Bajío. And also another air transportation services are only subject to permits issued by the Ministry of Communication. You know, all in accordance with the international treaties. You know, all the international treaties are they're like within at the level of the Constitution, but still the Constitution, it has more power, but still the international treaties has the same power jurisdiction as the Constitution. And also for domestic regular air transportation to foreign companies, for regular international air transportation to Mexican or foreign companies for international irregular air transportation, and also to the individuals companies, you know, Mexican or foreign, for private or commercial air transportation, has to be with all the documents and all the permissions. The Mexican foreign investment law limits foreign investments in company render domestic air transportation services to 25%.
Well, my name is Alejandro Brado, and I'm going to talk about the foreign direct investments on Mexico of the aerospace industry and how are they gonna work the next few years. We can say that the aerospace industry in Mexico, it is valued now at $6.22 billion, and it is estimated that it's going to grow 18% on the next years. Also, we can see this type of growth on the Tijuana airport when they are building there a new terminal processor, and also we can see a terminal expansion at the Los Cabos airport. And those structures that they are building, it is planned that they will represent about $752 billion on the next few years. Well, now we're going to analyze about how is the Mexican peso doing on the international environment, and we can do a little bit of analysis of the price of the peso. Here in Mexico, the peso is about 17.7 pesos or 18.8 pesos for exchange of $1, and these numbers are so good for Mexico. So we can see here that the peso is taking a lot of value on international environment, and also we can see on the central bank by Mexico that they are determining an annual inflation of to 7.62 in February of 2023, the lowest level since March 2022. So we can see right here a great numbers, and I think the peso is doing very good in the international environment. The Mexican environmental work culture we can determine as a collectivistic and as a more group-oriented environmental work. How and why are we analyzing this? We're analyzing this because it has been known for a lot of years that the Mexican worker are always trying to look up for their mates to get a better job, to accomplish all the goals that the company has established for them. And also we can know that the Mexican is a very determined worker. So this is a very good culture of the work. The only fun fact is that the Mexican are always very late people. They are not punctual, and this is a bad point, but we can fix that with good work. Well, as my final conclusion, I would like to start saying that how it is important to do every step of the investigation to just know if a company or if a cluster is going to work out in another country. And I think this is very important for every company to make always a very good investigation about how is it going to work, and if it's going to work in the country that we are likely doing our business. So I hope that these kind of investigations, we will use them on our liberal work, on our liberal path, and we just can apply every step that we have reviewed this semester, and not only in this class, but thanks a lot of thanks to our teacher Willie, because he has made an incredible work with us, and I don't have words to describe of how good is taking a class with Prof. Willie. So thank you a lot.
Okay, right now let's talk about the hiring practices that we have here in Mexico in this space, in this area. First of all, you need to have a title. Here in Mexico, to develop in this area and to have the specifications to control in every part of the process, you need to have a title because it's important. And the manufacturer and the whole process of export, import, it's necessary to have it. Because here we believe in the idea that in the college you get the knowledge necessary to be working in another place, in a formal place, but also you have the protection of the labor unions, because here the work is like a community. even though we are a competitive place, the community and the support between co-workers and allies is important. We also, the minimum wage, it's very difficult and very hard here, but in the areas that we're working, it's a privileged area that has higher salaries for Mexican and around the world people working in this. Here it's like very important. And now let's talk about the trades and what make easy this whole process of export and import to be an important place to have the companies here in Mexico. Why? Because Mexico, it's like a Pacific place, and we try to generate as many connections and as many relationships between other countries to the benefit from, or to find the beneficiary way to help our people, our economy, and our country. For example, we have the Tratado de Libre Comercio here in Mexico that involves the United States and Canada. It's a free trading, of course. Like he has his rules and everything in specific ways, but it's a part that makes it easier for us and the whole process to get these parts that are near to the transport.
And finally, talking about all these strategic alliances that we need to make as a company, it is actually one of our main strategies. Take advantage with all the alliances that we can make internationally speaking. For example, currently for Mexico and France, the aerospace sector represents a powerful link between both countries. This with the leading French companies that has settled in our country, meaning a strategic alliance with vision of the future, since the Mexico aerospace sector has become one of the most dynamic in its economy. The skill that we are looking for with our project, we definitely need to begin with a national skill. But it is a fact that it's our object achieve all the international markets, making our product, our Mexican hand and product, known in every country that is involved in the area. Talking about which is the best entry mode to fit with our company, we definitely think that joint venture is our best option. This to generate alliances with different companies that are already positioned on the market, but this without lose our authority, and to have like the opportunity to design our methodology, and with the hand of these all companies design new technologies to keeping matching the market. Another pretty important point that is the money. It is also a fact that our company needs a big initial inversion. It just because of all the ambition of the project, but as well as the company gets well positioned on the market, it will be pretty beneficial for all the parties involved in this inversion, in this initial inversion, and it will be also attractive for whatever company or people that is related to. And finally, talking about all these strategic alliances that we need to make as a company, it is actually one of our main strategies. Take advantage with all the alliances that we can make internationally speaking. For example, currently for Mexico and France, the aerospace sector represents a powerful link between both countries. This with the leading French companies that has settled in our country, meaning a strategic alliance with vision of the future, since the Mexico aerospace sector has become one of the most dynamic in its economy.